You ready?
Ready.
Good afternoon. It is Sinai Die in the Senate Finance Committee, Monday, April 8th, and we are going to vote on a couple of concurrences and hopefully go to the floor at 4:45. Who wants to start?
We have a bill.
Oh.
Yes, so we have House Bill 865, which is identical to Senate Bill 614. This is the coverage for prostheses bill. This passed the Senate earlier this session. The bills are in the identical posture.
All in favor of House Bill 865? Thank you. Unanimous vote.
Okay, so Senate Bill 760, we have a concurrence on Senator Kramer's gift card bill. And the issue as before is that the House has amended it to allow these gift cards that have alternative, less secure packaging. And so I think the decision is to hold off.
Yeah, Madam Chair, there's lots of negotiating happening right now. I think we just reached an agreement, but I want to reach out to see if I can get a full commitment on it. So if there's a chance for us to either go off the floor at some point and either, I guess, concur or not concur, depending on what the final outcome is here, and then just quickly appoint a conference committee, we might be able to get it across the finish line.
So if we say not concur right now, do we appoint the conference committee now?
He's asking. Oh, go ahead.
I think we may not want to take any action at the moment, and then let's see where we are. Thank you. This one's a close call.
So, Patrick, if we come off the floor, can you come over?
Mhm.
Okay,
Hold on
thank
one
you. No motion for 760 and Senate Bill 991.
We have a recede, not recede, and this one's a little perplexing. Oh, it's House Bill 816. So it's a cross file to Senate Bill 51. And 51 as passed, it was a local bill that authorized the board to extend the deadline. Basically, it's somebody whose license had elapsed and then they were in construction, and then it authorized the board to extend the deadline for them provided they meet certain requirements. So that was the bill that came out of the Senate. The House bill came over and there were amendments offered by Prince George's delegation, which strike the statutory part of the bill and do this whole process through uncodified language. The House refuses to concur with that, and instead is moving the Senate bill clean, and it's on second reading. So eventually the Senate bill will pass third reading with no amendments, and it's going to go to the governor's desk. And meanwhile, you have this other bill, which will not look the same. So they're asking you to recede, and I don't know what the decision of the Prince George's County senators are going to be on this, or what do you want to do with this, or just hold it for a while till we hear from the Prince George's County senators?
Hold the bill.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So the next item on the concurrence list, and then I believe there are a few other items that are not on the list to discuss, but the first one is Senate Bill 991, which establishes the Language Assistance Services Pilot Program within the Behavioral Health Administration. So the House amendments to this bill, rather than requiring the administration to adopt regulations, it specifies that the administration must administer the program in accordance with the bill's requirements, but it does not make any changes to those requirements. The department requested the amendment because they said that to promulgate the regulations would delay the start of the program.
And Senator Lamb seconded. So we have Senator Classmeyer and Senator Lamb all in favor of Senate Bill 991. I have a unanimous vote there. All right, thank you. Unanimous vote.
Madam Chair, would you like to discuss the Port Act?
Yes, I learned something new today. There's a thing called pre-concurrence, and so we're going to talk about the possibility of a pre-concurrence. I mean, I've only been here, I've only been here, I don't know, 16 years or something.
29 years and never heard.
Okay, there we go.
So the,
Well, there's no rule of four.
the status of the Port Act is that this morning, the Economic Matters Committee met and adopted amendments. Those amendments will be on the floor in the House this evening. So there's a reprint at your desk, which sort of lays out what these are. I'm going to page through, and unless anyone has any question, I will hit the biggest highlights. And so that is that on page 4 of 14, there is a date of January 1, 2022 added, and that becomes the beginning of the Fallen Transportation Worker Scholarship Fund. So it has to be related to the death of an individual on or after that date, and that will cover, if you recall from March of 2023, the accident on 695. Ahead on the next page, on page 5 of 14, it changes the eligible programs to any post-secondary education program. Flipping ahead, on page 6 of 14, it specifies that funding under the scholarship program is subject to the availability of funds. Moving ahead to page 7 of 14, there is a provision down here related to the employer's tax rate paid under unemployment insurance. So this provision requires the secretary to waive the charge of benefits paid to a claimant for the earned rating record of the employing unit. So if an employer has to lay someone off, it does not affect their tax rate. That's correct. On page 8 of 14, instead of tying the provisions to the occurrence leading to the state of emergency, referring to the Key Bridge collapse, it ties it instead to the governor's executive order, because that executive order could be extended. Pardon me? Oh, good. On page 9 of 14, there is an additional tax-related provision that exempts tuition payments made pursuant to the scholarship program from income tax provisions. And then in the newly added 13-203, this is a provision that authorizes the comptroller to disclose to the Departments of Labor and Commerce tax information of organizations or entities that participate in the programs under the uncodified provisions of the bill. Then moving ahead, on page 11 of 14, you'll see that limits have been added to the program to specify that the relief programs are intended for individuals and organizations that are Maryland-based. The amendments also add labor unions in the same posture as trade associations, companies, and small businesses. There's a provision added to the quasi-unemployment insurance program that specifies that an individual can receive additional funds on top of unemployment insurance that they would otherwise receive under the full true unemployment insurance program from the Department of Labor, and specifies that those additional funds that an individual receives under a relief program are not counted against or subtracted from the unemployment insurance benefits that the individual receives. At the bottom of page 11, it incorporates the work sharing unemployment insurance program into the program that the Department of Labor must implement. Let's see. Let's, I think, go ahead then to page 13 of 14. You can see that budget amendments that are submitted by the governor must be in increments not greater than $25 million. So each budget amendment would then be subject to the same review and comment process by the Legislative Policy Committee. And then the House amendments additionally add monthly reporting requirements, and that you can see at the bottom of page 13 and on to the next page. A provision is added on page 14 of 14 that the Departments of Labor and Commerce must prioritize the use of existing and available budgetary resources. There's a provision that specifies that any funds received as a result of the lawsuit will go back into the rainy day fund. And then finally, in the new subsection G, the Attorney General is required to bring all actions against all relevant parties related to the bridge collapse to recover funds. So that is the description of the House amendments to Senate Bill 1188 that would be coming to the committee for concurrence. And this was just an opportunity to explain those changes in this space rather than, in a hallway over in the State House later.
Senator Washington? Or Senator Washington?
I was gonna ask, if you can say that last part that you said about the bill, that we can recover some of the funds?
Yes, so the provision directs that the Attorney General shall pursue all available options, including filing actions against the applicable parties to recover for the state all possible economic damages arising from the closure of the port and the collapse of the bridge.
That's what I thought I heard. Thank you.
So,
Move to concur.
Senator Hayes has a question. Senator Reedy, I'm sorry. I looked right at you.
That's okay.
Senator Reedy has a question.
Well, he and I are.
I'm watching the time. I'm getting a little anxious.
Oh, no, sir, just one quick question. I noticed they struck out in the scholarship area. I'm not trying to nitpick, but why did they strike out the 2-year technical certificate program? They said you have to go to a 4-year college.
I believe that the 2-year technical program would fall under the definition of post-secondary education. under
Okay,
the
so it's
education
captured by
article.
that, even if it's
a
not a
broader
4-year.
term.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. I'm just curious.
Do we want to pre-concur now, or do we want to wait to see what actually comes out of the House? Now? Senator Hershey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just real quickly, I appreciate you giving, or that the Legislative Policy Committee got a little more teeth in it and can request that the governor provide a briefing to them. So I think that was a good idea, consider we could not require the approval from us. But the last part about the Attorney General, there's a bill going through JPR right now that deals with the Attorney General's powers and requirements on suing. Does this have anything to do with that? Are you aware of or not?
I haven't crosswalked the two
Okay.
bills. I'm aware that something, you're reminding me from watching
Yeah.
JPR's hearing yesterday that
yes,
something
exactly.
exists. Yeah, but I believe that was I can't speak.
It
on
has to
that.
do with him obviously suing, or trying to find out.
My understanding was that was
Probably
more
mayor's-
enabling.
And, the mayor's operated
I think it
anything?
had something to
Yeah.
do with
Well, he wants
settlement
to sue
agreements
everybody,
against
but- Okay,
subordinate parties.
just
Yeah.
checking. Thank you very much.
Do I have a motion to pre-concur, or do we want to wait for it to actually come out of the House? Thank you. And Senator Gall, second is Senator Washington, Senator Gall. All in favor, if the bill comes out like this, not
No
anything additional,
Floor amendment.
nothing
right.
additional. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Speaking of pre-concurrences, I have you all may recall the tobacco bill that we passed. The House has amended it significantly. From my perspective, I'm not asking to do anything other than concur. I understand it's on a calendar that will be moving shortly, third reader. So if you would like to pre-concur, or if we're going to be back, that's fine, but
They do to change that bill, Senator.
sadly, it'll make Senator Hershey very happy.
By the way, it's Senate Bill 1056.
They struck the provision that vape products would be sold in vape shops. So they'll continue to be fully accessible in gas stations and convenience stores. Pardon me, and keep finding their way into our children's hands. That's number one. And then the second, they also struck out the policy decision that they shouldn't be sold where people go to get healthy, our pharmacies, so that pharmacies will continue to sell products that kill and disease as well as cure. So that's what they did, but
But your motion is to concur with the Senate bill as it comes out of the House.
Yes,
with
ma'am.
amendments. Do I have a second?
Might
Percent.
want to add,
Okay.
I mean, obviously I might see the bill a little bit different than my colleague, but this was a lot easier to pre-concur as we're looking over the bill and we see the amendments and everything that were provided. I'm no doubt my colleague over there, because I know what the amendments were as well too, surprisingly. But I mean, I'm just saying, is that something that we really want to pre-concur without really seeing it? Or I'm willing to do that because I think the changes have been made, but I just am careful about setting too much of a precedence on pre-concurring. So my thoughts.
Entirely up to you, Madam Chair. I know what they did over there, but I'm not gonna pursue anything on the
Okay.
issue.
Well, I think,
And yeah, see, they
Yeah. then do that.
they restored the, they,
what the heck, you're gonna just be late. Can you get copies?
okay. So, but you know, the senator is correct. They restored the retailer's license for vape shops and struck the pharmacy. That's really pretty much all they did.
Increase-
I'll second that
And-
pre-concurrence.
Increase the fee.
Senator Hayes.
Licenses.
For vape shops only, I think.
Did they
Yes.
increase the fee for those licenses?
Madam Chair,
Senator Hayes-
I have
Senator
a
Hayes
whole
has a
nother
question.
issue, and I know Hershey has a problem with pre-concurrence, but I have a really simple bill. It's our local bill. It's House Bill 1427. The only thing that the House did was they put a sunset on it. We took the sunset off where it would have expired, I think, in 2025. They put a sunset back on where it
Okay,
would expire.
before we go to that, let's
Yes.
resolve, and I have
Okay.
one too. Let's resolve Senate
Oh,
Bill
oh,
1056.
oh, that's,
So I had a motion and a
Thank you for
second.
listening to my concerns about pre-concurrence.
We have, I'm sorry, Senator Washington? No.
You have one too?
So who's the motion? Senator Kramer and Senator Guile? Yes.
I second that.
Okay,
pre-concurrence.
all in favor of the pre-concurrence on 1056? Okay,
What I like the bill.
yeah, okay, so not you. Hey, Senator Hayes, no, I mean, Secretary, Senator Reedy, no?
Most devastatingly, yes, I am for the pre-concurrence.
Okay, so that's a unanimous vote. Okay. So House Bill 14, Senator Hayes, House Bill 1427, what does it do?
yes, ma'am. Oh, so House Bill 1425 was the West North Avenue Development Authority. It aligned the development authority with other economic development agencies. The amendment that the House is going to put on there is going to have it sunset, where we removed the sunset completely. The House is going to send it over. It's on second reader, it's about to go to third reader, sunset to 2026. Second,
Pre-vote on the House bill.
oh,
Not-
right, because we heard the Senate bill, we didn't hear the House bill,
Right.
correct. Thank you, Nathan, appreciate that.
So can we do that?
Did I vote?
Yeah, you know, I have two others I was prepared to discuss, but we don't have any of the paperwork yet.
All right,
so-
I think we're gonna come back. I have Senate Bill 952. Do we have that as one of yours?
Yes, I have that.
Is that a
one here.
vote or a pre-concurrence?
Well, you would have to pre-concur and what they made some, it's not, they didn't make a few changes. They redid a lot of things, particularly related to your, concern about selling data. They said that you can't sell personal data. This is the assisted living refer bill.
Senate Bill 952, it's the assisted living,
Senator
That's
Kramer.
that group that came in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was,
Place for-
that was a
Place
place
for
for
Mom,
mom
yeah.
versus the brick and mortar stores. So they made some changes. They require provide a client with a representative description of the services that will be provided. But actually, they did quite a few things to the bill, which you may want to see. I can make copies of or whatever.
sponsor of the bill, worked with them, and she was happy with the changes they made.
So, but, and then there was the issue regarding the selling of the personal data, which the chair wanted. They say they may not sell personal data of a client, potential client, or client's representative to another person unless the client or client's representative gives them written or consent. So the person has to consent to their data being sold rather than the outright prohibition, which is what the finance committee put on there.
Okay. Okay. Well, we did that a lot in the privacy bill, didn't we? Where people opted in. Okay.
And Senator Huddle was okay with these.
Yes,
She worked with them on these amendments.
she did, and she asked for me to do a pre-concurrence. So if I can have a motion for a pre-concurrence on Senate Bill 952. Thank you. Senator Washington and Senator Klausmeyer, all in favor of Senate Bill 952, the pre-concurrence. Okay,
Well, and there's one more.
Open the door up.
Well, I mean, this is Senator Hayes's bill about buying debt.
Oh. It's one of those things, if it's good for me.
So you'll be getting a third reader, you'll be getting a concurrence. Oh, it's Senate Bill 1006. The House amended the bill to be a Baltimore City bill only. So for over the next 2-year period, an entity in Baltimore City or the Baltimore City government can agree to buy patients' debt. And they also specified that where the money had to come from. I guess the intent is to use ARPA funds for this. So they specify that in here. This bill got quite a bit of discussion in committee and on the floor. But they made it a Baltimore City bill. So I don't think you need delegation support for the. Okay, so I don't know what it's largely unchanged other than the fact that it's now a Baltimore City bill. So only a Baltimore City can buy the debt from a Baltimore City hospital.
Concur, seconded.
okay, so
Pre-concurrence based on getting the letter at some time too.
We have it. It's on my desk.
I just.
Senator Hayes motioned and Senator Washington seconded, all in favor of the pre-concurrence on Senate Bill 1006. It's a unanimous
As
vote.
they say, next year you'll be doing pre-voting.
I know.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Please, was 1427 the one they did a lot of changes on?
No, that was the one where they did sunset. Dave's
Okay.
in there trying to, what's the name? Nate's trying to make out. Yeah, he's printing it now.
Okay,
All they did was put a sunset on there.
okay.
That was it. It's West North Avenue.
Can we do a motion to concur on House Bill 14?
Second.
Oh,
This is like Baltimore. Oh, this is the, okay, give
Nathan, hurry your butt.
This is a pre-concurrence. So we have Senator Washington and Senator Gile, right?
Actually, a pre-vote.
This is a pre-vote. Okay, this is a pre-vote. That's right.
So it's still printing the copies. They just got the copies for Dave's other bill, so
Okay, are we done?
it's gonna be a minute.
Take the vote.
Wait a minute. All right, we have a motion and a second on House Bill 1427 to just simply add the sunset of 2026. And we have a motion and a second, all in favor. Okay, all right. Unanimous.